How's it going? I'm Daniel DK here with another quarantine edition interview from my living room. Today we are talking to the one and only, the Atomic Clock. It's Gene Hoglan, baby. We're chatting everything from being one of the only 4 people on the first and last ever Slayer tour. We're talking about how a pandemic gave him yet another platform to thrive on with Twitch. And finally, he legitimizes my lifelong love for airdrop. Gene, what is up, dude? Thanks for joining us this fine afternoon via Zoom.
I'm very appreciative of the invite. Absolutely, brother, man. It's good to yeah, this is our first time actually physically chatting together, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
where one of us isn't like typing our answers.
I'll be hanging on Twitch and it'll be like, Gene Hoglan's popped into the chat. And
yeah, there you go.
Well, man, speaking of Twitch, why not just start right there? I'm sure at the start of this year, you did not foresee yourself playing drums to a live audience on the internet multiple times a week.
It's going great. I'm having a blast doing it. It's super fun. And, you know, once the old, you know, the whole COVID pandemic lockdown sort of thing happened, it's like, well, you got to keep your chops up. I was speaking with Alex Bent from Trivium, and hey, man, I tell you, I'm paying my rent every month through Twitch. You know, I got to go on Alex's Twitch a couple times to see what he was doing. I was like, he's playing drums and people are commenting on it. I can do that. So that's really where it kind of came from. And everybody's sort of a fly on the wall to rehearsing and chop building and stuff like that. I just kind of ramp up the character a little bit, ramp up the personality. So, and we've got a really awesome, you know, my Atomic Cult, they've named themselves. That's pretty cool. And forging some very nice, you know, friendships through this thing, you know.
You're really enjoyable and your personality's over the top. If anyone hasn't checked out your stream, I highly recommend it. Another cool thing to come out of the pandemic on a musician level is all these collab vids. Now, I know you've done a few and you've done some playthrough stuff. I saw Zero Tolerance and Overactive Imagination. How does that stuff come to be? And what can we expect next? Because I know there was a promise for some more coming on that last video.
Personally, I have tracked upwards of about 20 songs, somewhere around there. So, and a lot of those songs are from one of my old, awesome Canadian bands called the Almighty Punch Drunk. I got 9 songs from them racked up, and I'm just kind of patiently waiting on the other cats from Punch Drunk to get involved in that. So, how it kind of started was last December. Testament went over to Nepal. We went to Kathmandu and we headlined a festival there. The night before the festival, the band that puts on the festival, their drummer was trapped in India. So the night before the show, the manager got a call from the drummer. We were in the van ride over to the dinner that night. And so I just turned around and I was like, man, I'll play your set with you. This is like 8 o'clock at night. And so by midnight, the tracks had been coming in from the engineer. I'm like, holy moly, there's actually something to this, man. This drummer is killer. This band is killer. Wow. I did that show with them, but it always stuck in my head, like, oh, then you butchered their material. When I got back, I started putting all these ideas in my head, like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do a playthrough of you know, 3 or so of the songs that I did with Underside. And so when the pandemic hit, I thought, well, we got nothing but time now, so go in and do those couple of songs. And that just kind of sparked the idea. Since things were getting canceled, I miss my guys in Death to All. So I just reached out to those dudes and I was like, you guys want to, you know, I'm going to do a few playthroughs. Do we want to make this a little collaboration? And everybody's like, yeah, sure, man, we can pull it off. So I then flooded them with like 7 songs or something like that. Like, okay, here's what I'm doing, and jump in on them. That's how that kind of started. So it's just a way to connect with, you know, my guys in Death to All and you know, my old band, the Almighty Punch Drunk. Those will all be coming, and we got a whole bunch more Death and a whole bunch more Almighty Punch. Well, we have some Almighty Punch Drunk coming, you know, and I'm also in the midst of preparing for this massive project, this massive album, looking for a 2021 release on that. It's got a whole bunch of cats involved in that, so that should be fun.
A 2021 release of a supergroup record. This sounds hella exciting, dude.
Awesome. Yeah, man, it is pretty cool. It's for a gentleman who I refer to him on my Twitch stream because I'm rehearsing some of these songs on my Twitch stream.
Damn, dude. Even in a pandemic, you are living up to your reputation as the world's busiest drummer. Holy
Oh my
shit.
God. Daniel, I am so much more busy now than I ever was pre-pandemic.
One of my favorite things I hear you talk about is air drumming. Now, I know that you used air drumming as a tool to learn how to drum before you had a drum kit. And like, I got to say, I love this concept because I experienced much of the same thing. I grew up doing this, and then I'd hit a rehearsal space and the drummer would fuck off to have a cigarette. And I'd sit behind the drum kit, and all of a sudden I would know how to play stuff.
You can absolutely teach yourself an entire repertoire of songs by approaching it like that. I've told so many guys, like so many cats, bro, just because you don't have a drum set in front of you, that means nothing in terms of learning how to play drums. You air drum, even if you started with something super simple, like Back in Black by AC/DC, you listen to what the drummer's doing. You check out what his hands are doing. You check out what his feet are doing. And when there's a little fill, you try to go, okay, I recognize what he's doing. Air drum those. You've just given yourself a kick-ass little drum lesson.
Thank you for legitimizing my air drumming addiction for me. And now
Right
it's on the record.
Daniel. Hey, man, let's legitimize it for everybody. Let me
Hell
tell you.
yes. All right, let's talk studio stuff. You got a ton of studio experience. You've done everything. What are some of those standout sessions? And maybe like, you know, your fave one that you ever got to do?
Wow, holy boy, trying to pare that down from, but I don't even know how many albums I have out now. I imagine it's probably approaching 50 or maybe more and stuff. And I can remember my first recording session, which was Darkness Descends. You know,
Oh.
I remember that very well. I was 18, and I remember that session extremely well. And boy, I tell you, I remember all those Slayer sessions that I was ever at, you know, and I wasn't necessarily recording other than, you know, the vocals and stuff. But I remember those because, damn, I was like 15, 16 and get to see my pals record this kick-ass record that I'm sure nobody's going to hear because Slayer is just way too heavy for the planet. God, working with Terry Tate, that was exciting. And
Super cool.
yeah, there are a lot of sessions that I don't remember. All those big major ones, you know, like the first time working with Devin, you know, doing City. I remember tracking that at Steve Vai's house, and that was super cool.
You're definitely also one of the most sought after live drummers, go figure. So much that you, and I've witnessed it, have done double duties on the same night, playing for Testament and Anthrax back to back.
When it comes to the, you know, physical challenges of that, for me, there's absolutely none. Say you're rehearsing for a project, you're rehearsing for 6-8 hours a day, you know, pretty nonstop. You know, if you're tracking an album, I'll start tracking at noon and I'll complete the day at 10 p.m., 10 hours straight for however many days it takes. So playing for 2.5 hours, that's like, no, that's no big deal. And, you know, Anthrax has their quick double bass, Testament has their quick double bass in spots, but none of it is all that physically challenging. I guess the most challenge that I placed upon myself was when Charlie asked me on the very first day of one of those Anthrax, Testament, Death Angel legs. Charlie had come to me and mentioned that, bro, I've got to go home. I got some stuff happening back there that's very emergency like. Could I appeal to you? Could you possibly pull this off? And I was like, I'm going to film you and I'm going to watch what you do every night, because Charlie does a whole bunch of different licks, but he does them pretty solidly, and that's definitely not the one from the album. So just to make it a seamless transition, just so they don't even notice that they have a different drummer, I think that worked out pretty well. On the, you know, that last Slayer tour, I sometimes had triple duty, which was awesome. Like, I will take double duty every night. It was at that Toronto show. You might have been at the Toronto show. What was that?
Everyone at Banger was there, dude. It was amazing.
That's right. And that was the final show where it was just the side screens. Anytime there were side screens with the video screens, they were always directed really shabbily. Gary Holt peeling off some kick-ass lead, and the camera is on Tom staring at Paul. I just felt bad for the fans. So I'm like, these guys are getting a short shrift out of this deal. So it was driving us all crazy. And I went to the Slayer camp and I said, let me take over this for you. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I can do a better job than that guy. And if it just involves me tapping dude, the director on the shoulder and pointing at that camera, because, you know, they always got the bank of cameras. After about 2 or 3 shows, I just took over the whole directing with the headphones and the microphone and talking to the camera guys, and let somebody take over and take care of the screen so the people in the back at least have a concept of what's going on. So that's how that worked out. So there would be times when I would have triple duty, and I always loved that. I loved doing the Slayer screens. That was super fun, you know. I got my start with Slayer when I was 15. I was doing lights for them in the clubs, and I was on their very, very, very first tour. And Johnny Araya, Tom's brother, he had mentioned that he's like, you know, there's only 4 guys from that very first tour on this one. There's you, me, Tom, Gary, and you know, you got the 4 guys together from that tour. And I was like, oh God, it all comes full circle.
You're everyone's favorite drummer. I know you know this. You're all of our favorite drummer. But does it ever manage to still blow your mind when you hear dudes like your massively successful friends like Lombardo and Adler saying it?
The only people that I'm into impressing are the other guys on stage. But I'm definitely tripped out when massive legends come to me and go, dude, I've listened to you for years, you know, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? I've had a few discussions with my friend Bill Ward, you know, and he's like, I'm sorry, I apologize for fanboying out. Are you kidding me? Anybody fanboying here, brother? I got Steve Vai texting me like, dude, what if you keep playing with all my friends? When are we gonna play in a band together? That is mind-blowing, you know?
It's so cool to hear that you can still fanboy out when you are on the receiving end of all the fanboying.
I'm a fan first and foremost, you know?
The reason I brought up Adler specifically is because we do this show called Shredders of Metal. It's a drum competition show on YouTube, and Adler was one of the judges.
And the drummers that I know that have gone very far within metal have always taken something from other things. Like one of my favorite drummers, Gene Hoglan, started as a funk drummer.
I remember when that came out. Yeah, that's right.
The future of drumming is hella bright in Canada. And I want to tie this back into the whole Canada thing because I know you've got some strong ties here. You mentioned it earlier.
Montreal, you know, I know you're Toronto-based, but Montreal is absolutely the metal capital of North America, no doubt. You know, I went up there to work with Evan, work with strapping, and the whole reason why I went up to the first place was just they booked some shows. We had a video to do. With that video shoot, they just invited a bunch of their friends from the Vancouver metal scene. So I got to meet a whole bunch of guys that have become lifelong friends. The one thing I noticed was the Vancouver metal scene was psychotic. The quality of bands, the quality of songs that were coming out from all these bands, and bands like the Almighty Punch Drunk, Bomb Scare, Subversion, you know, Zimmer's Hole. Jesus, you know, Devin turned me on to Zimmer's Hole. I was like, this is the greatest band ever.
I got to say that Zimmer's record you did is insane.
Oh, thank you.
What is next immediately for you, Gene? What do you want people to check out? Where do you want people to find you? Lay it on me.
Well, Daniel, I would imagine probably the quickest and simplest way to have some access to some Gene stuff is check out the old Twitch feed if you are so inclined. You know, I'm on there 4 to 5 days a week. You know,
Gene, the Atomic Clock. Holy shit, Gene Hoglan. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wicked day, and I will see you on stream, dude.
Absolutely, bro. I'll see you real soon, Daniel. Have a great day. Thank you very much for you guys. Absolutely, brother.